Alright, troops. Tomo here, getting ready to drop the next installment of the Granite Zero podcast. But before we do that, if you're like me and you enjoy a good workout, and sometimes you get back and you're like, fucking hell, I'm sore, really could do with a nice protein shake to fix my achy muscles. Well, look no further than a veteran-owned, veteran-run Ali company. And not only did they produce some of the greatest sports supplements you can get, but they helped design my t-shirt, which is still available in large or extra large, the Granite Zero limited edition. Check them out. DM me for them. But what I'm talking about is Combat Fuel. Now these guys are veterans, and these guys give some of their proceeds and profits to Help for Heroes. So, do I need to say more? Maybe I do. Maybe you want a little bit of a discount. Well, fuck me. Here you go. Once you get to checkout, put in the promo code WARRIOR15 and get yourself 15% off at checkout. And sometimes you're thinking, Tomo, mate, I need a good cup of coffee. But I'm very, very particular with my coffee. Do you know anyone that is roast to order and will grind the beans specifically to my taste? And do you know what I say? Fucking right, doggy. Of course I do. That is the Dead Mammoth Coffee Company. Now check those bad boys out. Get yourself some roast to order coffee. And what's that? It's fucking veteran owned. So again, helping out another veteran owned company. But without further ado, it's time for the one and only Granite Zero podcast. Check it out. Hello, Charlie 1, this is Granite Zero. And welcome back, troops, to another installment of the Granite Zero podcast with your host with the most, Tomo. Cheers for coming, cheers for listening. And once again, Tomo has gone back to the old school. A bit like I did at the beginning of the last podcast, where I was on my own, treating myself to being a loner. Basically, Darren, a.k.a. the Little Brown, has taken my sister-in-law to Dublin for her 30th. So, quick shout-out to Lana for your birthday. Happy birthday, dude. I hope you had a good one. I hope you guys drank loads of Guinness. And the thing with Guinness is it fucking doesn't have to give you the shit. I mean, like, epic fucking farts. I had gas for, like, a week. But I really, really do hope that you had a fucking fantastic birthday and got really pissed on Guinness and fucking whiskey. Myself, I've been alright. I've been good. You know, it's just a same old week, getting amongst it. A bit of work and getting ready, to be fair. The girls have got their ballet show on fucking Sunday, and I cannot wait for it. You know, the hard work that these two have put in over this year to finally get down to the nitty gritty and get to that performance where they get to showcase their hard work that they put in. And it's such a proud moment, you know. I never get so proud to when I see them performing, whether it's sports day, dance recitals, whatever. Or even when they just come home and say they got 10 out of 10 on their spellings. You know, these girls make me so proud each and every day. And they lighten up my life. You know, they make me blood red mad sometimes. They make me fucking hysterically laugh. You know, both girls have got perfect comedy timing, and they both take after their mum. They're both kind souls, you know, and they're both very sensitive. It's just they're just amazing little creatures, and I'm so proud and happy to have these two little angels in my life, basically. Wow, that took a nice soppy turn, didn't it, at the start? Basically, this is going to be a nice quick episode of the Granite Zero podcast. And as always on the Granite Zero podcast, we have technical difficulties. So basically, my shit admin, I didn't charge up the iPad. Or should I say the girls used my iPad and drained the battery, and I didn't charge it. But that's my fault. Luckily for me, I record on Podbean, so I can do that on my phone. Which is what I'm doing. Hopefully the audio is still good. What I wanted to do, I was going to do a live podcast, but I bottled it. Basically, I bottled it. I turned into a bit of a fanny flap and bottled it. But, 'tis what it is. In my head, I had a plan with this podcast, considering I'm on my own. And I haven't really... I touch on it most weeks, you know. Everybody knows why I started it. But I just want to go over, really, why I started the Granite Zero podcast. And, you know, if you go all the way back to episode 1, when I went off on several different tangents, talking about Iraq, talking about Afghanistan, and lots of things like that. And I touched on a few things. But the Granite Zero podcast started because I used to bottle my emotions. That's what I did. And, you know, it's not healthy to do so. And we know that. I've spoke about it a lot in these past 36 episodes, 37 episodes. That you should talk, and it's good to talk. Sure. I've also touched on a few things that why I became depressed. But the reason for the Granite Zero podcast is it's a journal. It's a never-ending journey through my life, basically. I am capable of writing, sure. I write poetry every now and then. I kept journals while I was away. So I am capable, but I have to be really, really motivated to do it. Because my dyslexia takes over and I start struggling, and it basically turns into a shit show, so I don't do it. So I thought to myself, what sort of avenue can I go down where I can log my thoughts, log my feelings, talk about anything, and just get things off my chest if I need to, have happy days where I'm talking to my brother, other guests, reminisce, go through the past. You know, it doesn't always, like I've said in many, many episodes, when you're talking, it doesn't always have to be about how you're feeling. It doesn't always have to be, I'm down today, oh, let's find out what triggered me. It could be fucking anything, right? It could be having a conversation with your best mate that you haven't spoke to for a year or so. Just sat and having a chat about nothing, about everything. You know, just talking sets off those positive thoughts, positive feelings, and it gets you out of the shit moods that you find yourself in. So the Granite Zero podcast is a journal and a journey through my life. It's so that I can document and prove to myself that I can get through anything. You know, I've had some very, very dark and low days, and a lot of it started when I left the military. Of course it did. That is the main trigger to why I have depression and have anxiety problems and have what my therapist told me was a form of PTSD. A medical professional, might I add. And through these dark days, I would bottle up, and I'd push away every single person that was close to me. You know, it was taking its toll at home. It was taking its toll at work, where I couldn't settle in a job. I couldn't do loads of things. You know, I wasn't motivated to go to the gym. I didn't want to do fucking anything, really. And I pushed away my brother, my mum, my dad, and sadly, I pushed away my daughters and my wife, to the point where we were at a very, very rocky low patch, and it was difficult. I was difficult. Kate, bless her, didn't know what was going on with me, didn't know what to do. She was asking me to go to the doctors to get help and everything. And for me, it was you know, for me, it was so difficult to get what was in my mind and on my thoughts out. And the lowest point that I found myself was, I was sat on the floor in the kitchen, and I was in bits. I was in floods of tears. I thought I'd ruined my marriage. I thought I was going to be a part-time dad, and it was all my fault. And at that moment, when Jessica, my oldest, came over to me and wiped tears from my eyes and told me, "It's okay, Daddy. We're okay." You know, it struck a fucking nerve with me, and I knew at that point that it was time. You know, no more getting angry and frustrated and pissed off for no reason. No need to be shouting at the girls for no reason. Could be the littlest thing. They could have dropped a fucking pen on the floor, and I would have gone absolutely spastic. Because I didn't know how to contain or deal with these emotions that were flowing through my body. I've got my missus telling me to go and sort my life out. I've got myself telling me, "You're fine, mate. What are you fucking on about? What are you, some sort of fucking pussy? Fucking deal with it, man up." And that's the thing. That's what everybody gets told. Man up. Do you know what? Fucking men cry. I cry. Men feel pain. The strongest men among us are the ones that actually talk and deal with the problems they've got instead of taking it out on everybody else. You know, I've always had a temper on me. I've always had a problem with anger, I would say. Whether it's from a young age, from certain things I've seen and heard, which I'll keep close to myself. I'm not going to divulge that sort of stuff on the podcast. But I've always had that anger, that fire. So it didn't usually take a lot to set me off. They used to call me the Flash Short. But I found myself, you know, just naught to flash in 1 second at everything and anything. It wasn't healthy. You know, I never took Kate's advice to go and get help, and it took a friend to sit and talk to me and say, "Look, what the fuck are you doing, mate?" And I told him about Jess wiping the tears from my face, and they said, "Mate, you can't be doing that to the girls. They can't see you that not the fact that they can't see you that week, because that's not the right thing, but they shouldn't be picking me up off the floor because I'm so down. You know, that's something that they shouldn't be seeing. They say, "Daddy, don't forget to take your happy pills now," right? there was a time where I didn't take any sort of pills to be happy. I was genuinely a happy guy. You know, I showed it in my own sarcastic different ways, but I was a genuinely happy guy. And then when the depression took hold and it was a dark and lonely place, you know, I couldn't find my way out, couldn't get my way out until I went to see the doctor. And it takes a true man to realise the problems that they've got. It takes a real man to talk about these problems. You know, I've taken a fucking huge step by airing my problems out so that the whole fucking world to see and hear. That is why I started this, is to prove not only to myself that I can get through this, but to prove to everybody else that it's okay. Yeah? It's fucking fine. We at the Granite Zero podcast don't discriminate, don't fucking hate on anyone. You know, we have a joke and a giggle. I take the piss out of fucking people that support the Labour Party or whatever, people, the Ramonas, the fucking... I take the piss, but at the end of the day, I respect your point of view. You know, whether you're a fucking transgender, gay, bi, black, Chinese, Asian, Hindu, Muslim, vegan, whatever you are, I will never hate on what you're doing. I might take the piss, I might have a little bit of a fucking joke and a giggle. There's a time and a place, sure. Sometimes I overstep the mark, and if I've ever offended anyone in that sort of way, I apologise. You know, but the backlash that I had when I first started the podcast from members that I served with, members that I thought were friends, you know. They were on my personal Facebook, they were on my personal Instagram before I got rid of it, you know, and being called a liar, being called a Walter Mitty, being called every name under the sun was hurtful and hit a fucking chord, you know, and that set me back fucking a long way. And it's trolls like that I haven't got time for. You know, I'm well within my rights to name and shame if I wanted to, but at the end of the day, I don't, because I don't believe that they're worth my time, my energy. You know, I've got the support of bigger and better things. You know, whether it is veteran-owned companies like the dead Mammoth Coffee company, Combat Fuel, Right Flank Clothing, Modern Warrior, CQB, HR4K. You know, my list can go on. The H Hour podcast, Veteran State of Mind podcast. You know, I'm in comms with all these people, and I'm making moves in ways that these haters don't understand. Because they can't understand, because they're that small-minded. So they have to think, what can I do? Oh, I know what I can do. I can take the piss out of someone who's got mental issue problems. I have very good days, I have very bad days. It's how I deal with things now, is what counts. And these fucking people that like to hate on other people, I don't think they realise what backlash and that has on people that do suffer. You know, there's a lot of people not as thick-skinned as me, not as broad-shouldered, that can't take this criticism. You know, there was a time where I would take it and I'd take it all to heart. But then I realised not everybody is going to like the content that I put out, which is fine. You know, I keep saying you know a lot. It's fine. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. If you don't like it, don't listen. I'm still going to continue to put this podcast out. That's what I'm trying to get at. You know, and Granite Zero is now one of the most important things in my life. You know, my wife, my kids, my house, my job, my podcast. You know, I created this from nothing, and already I'm starting to make small moves, you know, and with each day comes new challenges, and with each day comes new followers, new friends, and more reasons to spread the fucking gen that I've got going on. You know, this podcast isn't solely about my depression. And I have to reiterate that, because I know I talk about it a lot. It's usually when I'm on my own, because it's my way of getting out. But I've got guests. I've got Little Brown producing it, helping me out, talking to me each week, apart from today. You know, and we go through a very range of different subjects, whether it is depression, suicide rates, anxiety problems. It could be that. It could be what's happening at work with Darren, who works for a very successful restaurant. Shout out to the Beefy Boys. Shout out to Big Berth, because he loves it. Dan Mayo Evans, one of the owners of the Beefy Boys. Pay for your fucking t-shirt. But, you know, we talk about everything and anything. And it's just the fact that you can spread a bit of positivity out there through the medium of talking. You don't have to be sending texts and fucking and being on your social media all day. Take a minute, download a podcast, have a listen. Be a part of something. Then go on your social media. Then go at Granite Zero Pod. At the Granite Zero Podcast. Yeah? Click follow. And be a part of it. Feel free to fucking DM me if you're struggling. I will talk to fucking anyone. I love talking. It's my new favourite thing in the world now. That's why I started a fucking podcast. But it's been fucking brilliant. The build-up, the everything. And I put out there on my social media that I've got guests coming on. So, starting off with the great and powerful Stuart Robinson, standard, a.k.a. Legless Robbo. Part of Team Legless, good charity, check it out. Robbo will be on in January. We're still waiting on an actual date to confirm, but Robbo will be on in January. And the reason for that is he's a fucking busy man. You know, they've just gone out and they've smashed out some brilliant fucking wheelchair rugby. I'll get more gen on it, sure. Also confirmed for next Thursday, 28th at 11 a.m. Alecia Emerson-Thomas. Fuck that, didn't I? Gave you my surname. That's going to get me in trouble. Alecia Emerson-Thomas. It's too close to Thompson. That's what the problem is. She will be coming on, and she is a fucking brilliant woman. Does shit ton for fucking charity. She does a shit ton for fucking ex-vets. She does a shit ton for mental health. She's now starting her very own podcast called The Wild Ones, I believe. Something along those lines. If I got that wrong, I apologise. But she's just a fantastic woman. She's also does a show on Sky One called The Hunt. And I will definitely do some proper research on all of that, Jen, before she comes on. But the one thing that I've been the most excited about, and I've been dying to fucking get this out there for fucking weeks now. So, the Granite Zero podcast has got a special guest coming on next Wednesday That's the 27th, Wednesday the 27th at 10:30 in the morning. Sean Thompson will be joined by Jack the Tank Shaw, UFC fucking contender. Get the fuck on my show, mofo. And I can't wait. I'm a huge fan of Jack ever since fucking day dot. He is fucking out of this world. And I'm fucking dead excited to get him on. Chat about fucking fighting. Chat about his upbringing. Chat about his old man. How he got into fucking jiu-jitsu. How he got into fighting. And all of the above. But I'm so happy that I can get that out here now and fucking say that next week on the Granite Zero podcast will be Jack the Tank Shaw. And just remember, he's on fire. Jack Shaw's on fire. The UFC is terrified. Jack Shaw's on fire. Boom! But yeah, thank you very much for this week. It's been a pretty decent little podcast, just a quick one, just to get it out there and keep up appearances, as it were. As always, I fucking loved every second of talking to you guys, and I will be back next week, next Wednesday, most likely with the Little Brown himself and Jack the Tank Shaw, and again for a bonus episode on Thursday with Alecia Emerson-Thomas. So, without further ado, thank you very much, guys, for listening to the Granite Zero podcast. Thank you very much for being a part of my journey, my journal, throughout this crazy roller coaster that is my fucking mind. And I just love every single one of you that sit down and take the time to listen to me rabbit on about life and such like. But thank you again, and as they say in the mighty Raf Reg, per ardua, yeah? Through adversity, I'm Tomo, and I'm out. Hello, Charlie 1. This is Granite Zero.